What is good to all my draft legends? Welcome back to the best fantasy football channel exclusively here on YouTube. Here we highlight the top 3 players from all main positions that will help your fantasy lineup outshine the rest. Also subscribe if you're tired of all these so-called gurus talking, making 30-minute long videos with such nonsense. Here on Draft Legends, it's straight to the point. And lastly, help this channel grow. I would love to keep providing weekly fantasy videos. Share with your friends, family, and feel free to comment your favorite player going into week 3 preseason. Alright, so let's get started. What a week it was. Preseason week 2. If you watched my first video, it was most likely a green day for you. Jacoby Myers, Tanner Hudson, Ryan Griffin. All these players I predicted will make an impact, and surely enough, I was placing 4th in a 20,000 player contest. Very high volume contest. Someone actually tweeted me, and surely enough, he made a couple thousands with just watching my previous video, which I think is pretty amazing. So a lot of positive results. But now we're entering week 3, and here are my top players who I'm expecting to see some great results. First off, we got the one and only Taysom Hill with 11 completed catches out of 15, 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also did a little rushing attempts with 53 yards, which ranked him up 18 with 74 fantasy points. Next up, never judge a book by its cover, Mike Glennon. He did 11 completed passes out of 14, 175 yards, ranking up 2 touchdowns with 1490 fantasy points. What a beast. Next up, we have the Bengals' very own Ryan Finley. He did 20 completed passes out of 26, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns, ranking up 14 fantasy points. Next up, we have the running back, starting with Damian Harris. The kid was doing it all. He was rushing, he was receiving. He actually received 4 passes for 23 yards and rushed 14 times with a whopping 80 yards, ranking up 1430 fantasy points. Up next, we have Raheem Mostert with 6 rushing attempts, 58 yards, and 1 touchdown. This kid also caught 2 receiving balls for 42 yards, ranking up 18 fantasy points. Now, don't sleep on my boy, Dearness Johnson. This kid, he received a killer touchdown, and he rushed 53 yards, ranking up 16 with 90 fantasy points. Moving up to the wide receivers, Andy Isabella. Finally, this kid struck some oil with a whopping 59 yards, and he received this amazing catch, ranking him up 1290 fantasy points. Next, we got Robert Davis. Yet another wonderful catch. He caught this 55-yard receiving pass, which ranked him 2050 fantasy points. Last but not least, DJ Montgomery with receiving 3 passes, ranking up 77 yards, 1070 fantasy points. Now moving on to the big bulk tight ends. Again, Tanner Hudson with 6 receiving touches, 93 yards, and 1 touchdown, ranking up 21 with 30 fantasy points. Up next, we got Big Ebron with only 2 targets, scoring 1 touchdown and 28 yards, ranking up 1080 fantasy points. Now the ruthless Delaney Walker. This guy, man, with only 2 targets, he scored 1 touchdown and 26 yards, ranking up 1060 fantasy points. Up next, we have the big almighty, the Jets, as your top defensive team this week, with 5 sacks, 1 interception, 2 fumble, and 1 touchdown, 21 fantasy points. Second defensive team, the 49ers, with 6 mega sacks and 1 interception, ranking up 9 fantasy points. Now you can't forget the Steelers. They're coming back angrier, hungrier than ever with 3 sacks, 3 fumbles, and 13 fantasy points. Well, that wraps up today's video. Hope y'all enjoy it and go make some money. Go get a green day. Take it easy, team.